Hi guys, welcome to either microeconomics or AP macroeconomics, depending on what course you're in. My name is Mr. Charlton, and I'm going to be your teacher. The reason I said both is because for the course, for this video, which is the course orientation video, since both classes are basically set up the same in Blackboard, I only need to do one video. So this will, everything you see here in this video will pertain to both the micro and the macro course. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen with you guys and we'll get started. So let's go right here and share. Okay, so if you're in AP macroeconomics, this is what your start here page will look like. Let me get myself out of the way here. This is what your start here page will look like. I call it start here because this is your home page of the course, and you would and every time you log in, this is the page where you'll come to at the beginning. So you'll start here, and if you're in macro, which a lot of you are, of course, micro, I mean, it's going to look pretty similar, right? So what I want to do in this video is talk about first the course syllabus, and then we're going to go over how the course is laid out in Blackboard, and then we're going to talk about your gradable task, which are your weekly assignments, your weekly quizzes, your weekly discussions, and then lastly, we're going to talk a bit about class norms. So, course syllabus. If you go to Blackboard, which you're in, because if you weren't in it, you wouldn't be watching this video. You've clicked on this link right here to see this video. Also, I'm going to be sending this video out to you guys, this link to the video in an email. So those are the two ways you can view this video. Anyway, the course syllabus is right here, and I'm going to also send this out to you as an attachment on an email. But if you want to download it from Blackboard, you just simply go right here and you click on the link. And your computer may not work exactly like mine. You may have a Mac, and it may download documents a little bit differently. But if I click here, you can see that it just comes right up in a new a tab. So here is the syllabus, and I'm not going to spend or waste your time reading this to you. This is something that you should read. Right away, very, very carefully, maybe multiple times. Go over it. It has your schedule. It's got your how your grades are going to be computed. It has everything you really need to know initially about this class. Pay particular attention to the class policies that are in the gray or bluish gray box right here, and I'll be going over these more specifically as we work through this video. Okay, so if you look right here, and let me just blow this up a little bit so you can see it better. If you look right here, you can see my email. So always, always, always never hesitate to email me if you have any questions or concerns about anything. And I'm really making a point to reply to students' emails within 24 hours or less. Okay. We're going to be holding weekly office hours in the evenings, and they won't always be the same days, mainly because my schedule changes, and if I have them on the same day every week, there's always students who have something they're doing that precludes them from being able to attend. These will be live video sessions, so I'll be letting you know when the first one is. It's probably going to be the first week of the class, very, very early on. Okay. So make sure you download the syllabus and read over it very, very, very carefully, okay? Right here on the start here page of the class, okay? The next thing on our agenda is Blackboard. Okay, so I'm not going to show you, I'm not going to spend a lot of time because you can take all the time you want to explore through the course in the Blackboard, but I'm just going to sort of lay out the basics here. So when you first come in, whether it's a let me close this so I don't get confused, whether it's macroeconomics or microeconomics, you'll see on the left of your screen over here, course menu items. So I'm going to run through these quickly, and just so you know what's available right from your Start Here page. So the first menu item is, I'll just open it up right here, is simply a list of all of your assignments and your quizzes and your discussions, everything that's gradable for the entire year. Okay, when it becomes available to do and when it is due. So you can look at it here. You can also download a PDF version of it here. If you click here, you'll see you can download this. Now, if you want to download this and save it, you would simply come right here and hit download, and then you can save it somewhere in your computer. Okay. You can also access. Let me get myself out of the way. You can also access the course calendar, or you can either look at it or download it. And I've already got that opened up right here. Actually, let me just click on it and see how this is going to work. Okay. Okay. So it actually comes in, see down here in the lower left-hand corner. So I'm going to X out of that because I've already got it open. So this is an Excel spreadsheet that every tab is a month of the year, right? So you can see the schedule in a different format all the way through to your AP exam in May. And I believe the macro AP exam is on this Friday. Pretty sure. Okay. So you can see your schedule, either here in the course calendar, or you can see it listed here. Okay. And the other thing is on the Start Here page, whatever is available, whatever you should be doing that day is going to be right here on the Start Here page under Things to Do. So I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this Start Here Things to Do list updated every day. So if you have any doubt in what you should be doing in the course, you can just simply log in to the course in the Blackboard, and the first thing you'll see on the Start Here page under Things to Do is what you should be doing that day. Okay, so jumping back to the course calendar, you can see that your first assignment is going to be available midnight, early Monday morning, and it's going to be available for 24 hours and will be due midnight Monday night. So you'll have 24 hours to do your first assignment of the week, and then on Wednesday you'll have 24 hours again to do your second assignment. So your second assignment, in this case on September the 11th, assignment 1.2, based on chapter 1 in your textbook, is going to be available midnight Wednesday morning, or Tuesday night. You can think about it. Late Tuesday night at midnight, and be available for 24 hours until midnight Wednesday night. And then your quizzes are going to be available for 48 hours, and they're going to become available on the Blackboard early Thursday morning, 12 a.m., or you can think about that as late Wednesday night. So midnight on a Wednesday, and be available all day Thursday and all day Friday until midnight Friday night. So you're going to have a 48-hour window to do your quizzes. Now your discussions are going to be available. You'll see the discussion of questions on Blackboard for the week early Monday morning, midnight Sunday night, or you think 12 a.m. Monday morning, and that discussion for the week is going to be available all week until midnight Sunday night. So you'll have a week to do your discussions, and I'm going to talk more about that in detail a bit later on. Okay, let's jump back over here. So that's that one tab. Okay, so that's really so that's where you'll find your schedule here. Okay. Now the next tab is where you're going to find. I'll just click on it, where you'll see your resources, which are going to be your book chapters here, and your videos right here, right before your second assignment. And it's going to be very important to watch these videos, because I'm going to be explaining how to do problems that are going to be very, very similar to the ones you are going to be doing for your Wednesday assignment. Okay, so those are going to be your basic resources, the chapters. So if you click here on the link, the chapter will simply open up and you can see it, right? Now, I would encourage you to download it right here and save it, because if you save it, you have it as a PDF file, which you can see right here, and then you can use the find function. If you go to edit and then scroll down to find right here, if you're trying to find anything in the chapter, that makes it really quick and easy. Okay. So I would certainly encourage you to save these book chapters as PDF files. Okay, so where were we? Let's go back to wherever we. This guy's in the way. Okay, let me just come back to it right here. Okay, so now, so if you scroll down, you can see that every chapter for the year is already in here. Every assignment is in here. All the way, I haven't got the last section where we're going to be reviewing for the AP exam, but I've got everything in here to the end of your textbook. And for those of you that are in a macro, you'll see, let me make sure, let me scroll back up here. Yeah, macro is red and micro is green right there. So I can tell the difference. Anyway, if you're macro, you'll see that you've got assignments 1 through 18, and that matches up with your chapters in your textbook, chapter 1 through 18. Now in micro, you'll see that your last 2 assignments here are assignments, I believe, 19 and 20 or 18. Let me just scroll down and see. Let me remind myself. Is see, yeah, 18 and 20, because you're going to do 18 total chapters as well, except instead of doing 1 through 18, you're going to do 1 through 16, skip 17, and do 18, skip 19, and do 20. So that's why your assignments are numbered like they are, because I wanted the assignment numbers to match up with the actual chapter, so you wouldn't get confused. Okay, so that's all in there. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, what do I mean by becoming available? Because it looks like they're all here now. Well, yes, they are. All your assignments and your quizzes are here now for you to see, and you can see again when each one of them are due here. But what you're going to have to do your assignments or your quizzes is a password. Okay, so if you look over here at, let's see, I'm in a micro, aren't I? If you look over here at a macro, and I scroll up real quick, you can see that the password for assignment 1 isn't there. And it won't be there for you guys in a micro either until midnight of Monday, or I should say midnight Sunday night, or 12 a.m. Monday morning. That when the assignments become available, that is when you're going to be able to see the password. In other words, you're not going to be able to get into the assignment if you don't have the password. So they're really not available to you to do until you actually see the password. Now, what I'm hoping is that this will be very simple for you to very easily know what you should be doing, because the only thing you should be doing is what you see a password for. Because when this assignment becomes due, in other words, let me just jump back over here. When assignment 1.1 is due on Monday, September 9th at 11:59 p.m., the password disappears. So then you won't see it anymore. So if you don't see a password and you haven't yet done the assignment and it's past due, then unfortunately that will go in as a 0. So you want to make sure that you keep up with your assignments and you know when things are due and you set aside time to do them. Okay? So I'm going to come back to this tab right here, your resources, assignments, and quizzes, and actually show you what these look like. But let me keep going and just show you the rest of the menu items. So after that one is your discussions, okay? So your discussions look like this. You're going to have a prompt, and each one will probably have 5 questions for you to answer, okay? And the way you do these is, well, and once again, these are based on your chapter. So this first discussion is based on your reading in chapter 1. However, I would encourage you to, use other resources that you could probably pretty easily find on the internet to help to, add to some of your answers. So I'll come back to the discussions, but I just want to just run through these tabs, and then I'll, look at a couple of the more important ones in more detail. Okay. The next tab here, let me just scroll down so you can see that whole thing. The due date is right down here at the bottom for your discussions, so you won't have any question on when you actually need to have this done. Okay. The next tab is what I'm calling AP Exam Resources, and if we click here, you'll see that I've got one link in here, one for AP Micro, and then we go over here, we see for AP Macro. They're actually developing, it's kind of it's sort of a work in progress, but if we go to Khan Academy, you can see that they have a curriculum in here that is aligned with the AP Macro and Micro curriculum. So this will be a great resource, not only during the year to get more, to learn more or learn differently, or just, have another perspective on a topic that you might be studying in the chapters of your text, but also this will be a great tool for preparing for the AP exam in May. And I will be adding to this link as we progress through the year. Let me just jump back over here to make sure. Okay, so the next one, course menu item here is our class norms, and I will be talking about that at the end, right here. And the next one is Convent of the Sacred Heart goals and criteria, and I'm sure you're familiar with, but I have them here, so you can. So I would certainly encourage you to read over these when you have time. And then the last group here, this is where you'll see your grades, You'll see your assignment and your grade right here. You know, how many, this is the maximum of points. And then of course, when they're graded, you'll see how many points you actually earned on each one. And then we have a roster here of your classmates, which let's see if it's going to come in or not. Let's just see if you hit go. Yeah, here we go. So here's you guys. All right. And then if you want to send me, now we'll probably be using a Gmail or, you know, or more than here. But if if you did want to send an email out to one of your classmates, you could certainly do it here. And then lastly, there's the class calendar, which you probably won't use a whole lot, but I just left it in here because you've got the course calendar that I set up for you as an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so that's pretty much how the course is laid out in Blackboard. Now let's back up a bit and let's jump back over here to our agenda, and let's talk about our weekly assignments. Okay, so on Monday, you're going to have an assignment every Monday that should take you no more than 15 minutes. And this assignment is just designed to get you to look at the chapter. So what you'll do is you'll click right here on the assignment 1.1 link and remember the password, scarcity. Click right there, and then click on the and for let's see, for, where am I here? Let me go back. Yeah, for a macro, I should say, it'll be red, I believe. Let's just click here and see. We go here, and then we click on assignment 1.1, and once again, when it's available on that Monday the 9th, I believe, right, you'll see the password right there, okay? Just like you saw it in a micro. Anyway, if you click here in macro, yeah, it's the button for a beginning is red for you macro folks, and for micro is green. Now the first 4 chapters are the same for both micro and macro, so no worries there. So let's hit begin, and then it's going to ask you to type in the password. So SCARCITY. There you go. Now, this first assignment, you see your counter right there. This first assignment is going to be very similar every week. What I'm asking you to do here is, this is what we call a multiple answer question. So you'll check every statement that is true. And I'm just simply asking you, what are the learning objectives for chapter 1? And just sort of give you a hint, there's maybe 2 or 3 in here that are not chapter 1. So those are the ones you do not want to check. You want to make sure you check all the ones that apply to chapter 1, which simply means you go to your chapter, and you could have done, you could be totally prepared for this by going into your chapter before you actually open up the assignment, and make sure you know what the learning objectives are. But you'll find them if you go into your chapter. Let me jump back up here to the beginning. Your learning objectives are at the beginning of every section. So if you look at 1.1, there's 3 right here. And if you click down to 1.2, which I might have gone too far. Let me see. Yeah, no, 1.2, there's 3 more right here. And then if we go to 1.3, here we go. Well, actually, I skipped 1.3, but anyway, there's 3 more in 1.4. You just got to scroll and just find it. Or you could, if you want to be quicker, move. You could go here and go find and go 1.3, and it would probably come right up. Let's see. to see how this works. Yeah, here we go. See? So, you know, there's all kind of ways you can find these. So, and then there's 3 more right there. So these are going to match up with what you see here in your multiple answers. So you just want to check the ones. So if you say, so let's see, by the end of this chapter, you will be able to discuss the importance of studying economics. Well, that's probably is one. I would bet you anything. So let's just jump back and find out. By going right here. Here we go. Discuss the importance of studying. Yes, that is one. So then you just simply go here and just check, right? So you just check the ones that are are actually learning objectives for chapter 1. And once again, this is not meant to be hard. This is just meant to make sure that on Monday, the first day of the week that we're learning whatever chapter we're on, that you will absolutely need to at least look through the chapter, okay? Now, question 2 is going to depend on the chapter. So this one, for example, but all 3 of these are for assignment 1 are going to be multiple answers. So you're going to check all that apply. So this is asking you which 12 countries in the world have the most economic freedom. So what I would do if I was you is I would come back to your chapter and go edit, find, and type in economic freedom. That's what I would do and see what happens. Oh, there it is. Now you can see 12 over here countries have the most economic freedom, and 12 more over here have the least. So you just simply need to look at this carefully and go back to your quiz and check all that apply for the most, right? And there's going to be some that are, that obviously you shouldn't check. You just want to make sure you check all the ones that are right here. So that's not hard. It's not meant to be hard. It's just meant so I know you've at least perused or skimmed through the chapter on Monday. So you know what what it is. I mean, you're familiar with what the week's learning is going to be, right? And then lastly, you're going to get you'll get a third question, and this one is asking us which countries exported more than 30%. So exports 2015. So why don't we just come back to our chapter and type in export, and see what we can come up with, right? Well, here we go. So we've got countries, and we've got the year, and we've got the percentage of, let's see, is the right here, the percentage of domestic economic production that was exported. So when we go back to our question, we can see I'm asking you which ones exported more than 30%. So that's right. That's not hard. You just simply need to, be careful that you look through here carefully and identify the countries that are over 30%, right? And check those off right here. So that's all your assignment 1.1 is going to be. My hope is that it will encourage you to do more than just the assignment, that you'll actually, since you're in the chapter, read over it, study it, right? And the earlier you get into the chapters every week, like, if you start early, that's going to really pay off when you take your quiz on a Thursday or Friday, okay? So then once you're finished, you would click right here, save and submit, and for macro, see, that's going to be, well, it's going to be red. All your buttons are going to be red, right? So I don't want you to get confused about that. So anyway, save and submit, okay. And since I didn't answer anything, and then hit okay again, and then you'll see, if I could get this guy out of the way, you'll see how you actually did. And since I didn't answer anything, I didn't do very well at all, but hopefully you'll do much better than I just did, right? Okay. So that's going to be what your assignments look like. Now, your chapter problems are going to be your second assignment. Now, assignment 1.2 is not really problems because early on in the year, the first a couple of chapters really don't have, actual problems. You'll do a lot more of those types of actual problems starting probably, I think, chapter 3. But it's the same if you click here and you don't see the password, right? Because it's not available yet. But before you start this, make sure you've read and studied the chapter and you've watched carefully the video that I'm going to have right here explaining problems similar to the assignment. So once again, if you click here, you'll see it's asking you for a password. And I happen to know what it is. Let's click hit begin. And I'm going to type it in right here and just show you what this is going to look like. So these are going to be 3 multiple questions. So there's only one right answer here. You got 4 choices for each one, and you've got one right answer. And the reason I'm saying problems is because in order for you, once we get more into the class, and it might be true of one right here too, you're going to have to do some problem solving in order to arrive at the correct answer. And these are not going to necessarily be easy. So it's important for you to study before you open this up and begin. And it's really important for you to watch the video and be very careful because you've got 4 answer choices here. And as you get into the class, each of the 4 are going to be very, very similar. So unless you're able to arrive at the exact correct answer, then you're not going to know which one to choose. And I've done I've color coded this because as we get, I think, chapter 3 and 4, the answers are longer and they tend to blend together on your screen. So I've put lines between each of the answers, and the first answer is always going to be blue, the second answer green, third answer red, fourth answer purple, so you'll not get confused on which of these buttons here to pick, right? So you'll pick only one right answer. Assignment 2 is a multiple choice. So I'm just going to randomly pick the green because I like green. Don't you randomly pick anything. I'm just showing you how this works, okay? And then when you have decided on your answers and clicked on them, you would just simply hit save and submit, okay, and then okay again. And then I was lucky on number 1, so it's going to show you your answer and the right answer. Wasn't so lucky on number 2 or number 3. So, okay, so hopefully you guys will be prepared and you'll get those right. And if I think it's going to take you longer than 15 minutes, if as we get into the class, if I feel like you need more time because the problems are harder, then I will certainly give you more time. But here at the beginning, 15 minutes should be ample time to answer those 3 questions. Okay, so that's your assignment. 1 on Monday, 1 assignments, 1 on Monday, 1 on Wednesday. Your quiz is going to be once again available early Thursday morning, 12 a.m., and be available for 48 hours. So you'll see that quiz password for 48 hours until Friday midnight. And if you click on that, click on the link right here, and then click begin. And I happen to know what the password is, so I'm going to type it in. And begin. And this is 25 multiple choice. So there's only one a right answer here. 25 multiple choice questions based on your chapter, based on the learning objectives that you identified in assignment 1. So if you studied, and if you're, and if you're really, if you've done the work that you should have done during the week, then these quizzes will not be hard for you at all, okay? You're going to have a half an hour to do 25 multiple choice questions. And I understand that I should be able to do these quick. But even when I go back and can't, and I haven't looked at it for a while, I can do one of these in less than, it probably takes me about 5 minutes. So 30 minutes, if you're prepared, should be plenty of time. And I'm not, this is an online class, so I certainly can't prevent you from having the chapter right here as you're taking the quiz. However, if you want to do well at the end of the year, if you want to do well on the final exam and the AP exam, I would encourage you to go through the quiz once and see what you know without looking back at the book, right? Go through it once. You've got plenty of time. And if there's one that you need the book for, or there's one you're not sure about, fine, go check it. But you really want to be prepared enough to be able to answer these as if it was a quiz in class without being able to use your book, okay? So that's your challenge. And the more you would do that, the better off you're going to be in the long run, okay? So once you've finished it, all 25 questions, simply save and submit, okay? And since I did not answer any of them, I'm not going to do well. But it will give me my results, which is basically not very well because I didn't do it. Okay. There you go. So that's the quizzes. Now, I believe that there's only one more thing I want to talk about, and no, actually, two. Your weekly discussions. Okay, let me jump back over there. So when you are ready to do this, this discussion actually has 4 parts. The first part is your initial post, where you're answering the prompt, where you're answering the 5 questions that I have posted here. Some of them are going to be simple factual answers that you'll find in the chapter, and the last ones are typically going to be your opinion, but your opinion based on what you learned from your reading. And you can certainly, once again, use outside the resources if you want to. I highly encourage that. So when you want to do this, you simply click on the link over here, and you would create a thread, and then you can name it anything you want, and then you would write your initial post. Now, I want to bring your attention to this tab right here, grading information. Right? If you click on that, you'll see the rubric, which is kind of hard to find. It's right here. Okay. Now you can also view the rubric in My Grade, so I'll show you that as well. But anyway, if you click right here, you'll see the rubric, and it's very simple. I try to make this as simple as possible. In your initial post, I want you to comprehensively answer the questions, and I'll let you read over this on your own, but make sure you read it carefully, because I'm going to be grading you based on if you've done what I've asked you to do here. Now, you're going to be required to respond to 3 of your classmates or your peers' initial post. So you're going to be replying. So the important thing to remember about your peer responses is that they don't have to be any set length, but I do need to know from reading your response that you actually read the post you're responding to. In other words, if I write something and one of you just said, you know what, I agree completely with everything that Mr. Charlton said, period, done. Well, that's not good enough, because that doesn't really tell me you read what I wrote, right? Correct? So you need to make sure you reference whatever you're replying to specifically. Like, I really liked the way you explained globalization. I liked that you, whatever, right? You want to make sure that if I read your response, I'm convinced that you actually read the post you're responding to, and you need to do a 3. Now, this is going to be a challenge for the macro folks, because I think there's only 4 or 5 of you in the class, so you're basically going to be responding to everyone, right? Which means, and this is important, your initial post needs to be done early in the week, because if everybody waits until Sunday night, for example, to even start, then no one's going to be able to respond, write their responses during the week, because there won't be anything to respond to. So I'm going to be encouraging you and almost begging you to take the time to write your initial post and put it on, put it in the discussion board Monday or Tuesday, so that everyone else has plenty of chance, plenty of time, and plenty of opportunity, I should say, to respond to you. Okay. Now let's close this out. So when you let's see, let's go back over here. Let's click right there, and when you create the thread right here, it looks like this. You can put whatever, you can call it whatever you want, and you can write this in a Word document, and copy and paste it in here if you want. But anyway, once you've finished, you just simply hit a submit. Now, if you want to reply, let me look here. If I write something, let me just write something in here. Anything. I'm just going to say something really simple, okay? So you can see, I think, actually, I'm not sure that's going to work in the student view, but you shouldn't have any a problem seeing the threads in here. Actually, you know what? Let me just show you what it looks like. Just click over here in another class. You can sort of see, because I want you to see it. And this is a course I teach at City College, and one of my students has already responded to my post. So if I go in here to the discussions, you can see that if I click here, you can see there's 2 posts in here, right? So if I click right there on the actual link, you'll see, and then here's mine, right? So I called it my introduction, and then this is, and if you write it, your name is going to be right here. So if I click, so say that I wanted to respond to me, or say this wasn't me, and I wanted to respond to whoever this was, I would simply click on the link right here and simply hit reply, and you can see where one of my students has already replied to me here, and I can see it right under. So I could reply back to her if I wanted to, right there, or I could reply here to me. So that's how you write your peer responses. Okay. Close that out. So there you go. So that's your discussions, and the way you'll know which one to do or what you should be working on is the only one you're going to see is the one that's open for that a week. So on the Sunday night, September 15th, Sunday at midnight, this discussion will go away. You won't see it anymore, and you'll see a discussion 2. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. Okay, so that's pretty much works us all the way, and I want to just talk a little bit about class norms, and then we'll be done. So if we come back here to our class and click on class norms, I've been using these for years, probably I don't know how many years, in all of my classes, whether it's middle school or adults. I use these when I taught at the Center for Naval Leadership, and the average age in my class was probably more like 40, right? So, but one thing I have done is I've added one. This year I've added be empathetic, because I think it's very, very important that we learn to see the world from some other perspective other than our own, that we're able to really understand what it's like to be somebody else, right? And, be tolerant of that, and really, work to not so much be a critical, but to understand, right? To understand. So these are what I've always used when I've taught in a classroom, and I think they also apply very well here in this online environment. It's very important that you do everything that you need to do in terms of your preparation, right? Be prepared, that you turn things in on time. There's not going to be any, like way to do late assignments unless you have some kind of really good reason, like you're sick or something happens that you just couldn't possibly do it. And we'll address things like that on a case-by-case basis. But overall, it's very, very important to be on time. It's very, very important to be prepared for your assignments and your quizzes and your discussions. It's very important to be engaged. These last 3 have more to do with the discussion than anything else. I really want to see a lot of effort put into these discussions. I want to see engagement. I want to see you guys talking to each other. It's very, very important. And obviously, when you're talking about, let me just jump back over here and just, if you look at the discussion of questions, for example, the last one here, I'm asking, on balance, do you think globalization is a good thing or a bad thing? Well, say one of you writes, oh, it's really, I think it's a bad thing, and here's why. And one of you is responding, and you don't agree. You say, well, I think it's a good thing, and I think you're stupid. No, that's not respectful, of course, right? Nothing, and I don't think you would ever say that. But I just want you to be aware that it's important when you want to disagree, or when you want to debate or take issue with an opinion expressed by one of your classmates, that you do it in a respectful way, right? And always try to understand, like why would he or she think that? Be empathetic, right? So that's why I think that these are very important, ways to be, right? And the other very, very, very important aspect of this is these are not rules for students. These are class norms. These are norms of behavior, especially me, right? I am included in this, and it's probably more important for me to follow the class norms, or absolutely just as important as it is for you, okay? So there you go. So I'm going to unshare here, and I look forward to this year. Really, really excited about both of the classes. And I want to once again urge you, if you have any questions or concerns, never hesitate to email me. And I look forward to seeing hopefully all of you in our first during our first office hours, which I should be letting you know about the first week of the class. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.